welcome back to Undisputed Interviews. And today we have UFC Bantamweight 13-8 Chad Anheliger. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just on the grind. So, my first question for you is: I know you're from Calgary, Alberta. Do people call it both, or is it just one name?
What's that?
Do people call it Calgary and Alberta, or do they just call it like Calgary?
It's just Calgary. Yeah, it's Calgary's the city. Alberta's the province it's in. So yeah, it's just Calgary.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, my first question for you is how was it growing up in Calgary? And like is there any spots that you would recommend somebody who hasn't been there check out or visit?
Yeah, man, Calgary's awesome. We're really lucky because we're only like less than an hour drive to the mountains.
Hmm.
And once you head out there, we have a lot of really cool spots in Banff and some other places along the way, mountain stops and lakes. So yeah, the mountainside is what makes Calgary special for sure. So if you ever come all the way to Calgary, we might as well go the extra 45 minutes to the mountains for sure.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to do there?
I'm a little bit of an outdoorsman myself, so in the summer I like to get out and camp and fish and hunt. So yeah, I like to be outside pretty much as I can. So that's why I love it here.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a certain animal, like a favorite animal you like hunting, or is it like just
You know,
whatever
we
you
have
see?
we have quite a bit out here, but typically for us it's like deer season. Like we typically
Hmm.
go after deer, and that's how I like to fill the freezer up with like good good meat that I know that I killed and got butchered. So yeah, I like
Yeah.
it that way.
Is that something you would have around Thanksgiving time, or is it just year round?
It's there's only certain seasons that it's legal, like that you're allowed. So right now, it just ended, and I was busy with my last fight, so I didn't actually get to go this year. But I'm looking forward to going next year.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing. Like it sounds really fun, man.
Definitely is.
How long have you been hunting for?
It's been kind of on and off my whole life. When I grew up, my dad used to take us when we were kids, and still something I try to do when I can. It's just hard
Yeah,
to get away with life being so busy.
yeah. It's just whenever you have the chance, you'll do it, but
Yeah.
kind of on and off. All right. Well, my next question for you is how did you discover the MMA, the UFC scene, and what did you see or what made you feel like, oh, I want to do this as a living?
Nothing was really drawing me to specifically MMA, but when I was younger, I just wanted to learn martial arts and I wanted to compete and I just wanted to
Hmm.
push myself athletically and through those things, I eventually kind of landed on MMA. So
Yeah,
I went into a gym and I learned some boxing and I learned some jujitsu and there were some MMA guys in there and they kind of led me that way. So yeah, I started with just a few tournaments and then as I kept training and kept getting better and I just kind of kept ramping things up into MMA and then I started to get really good at it and started to have some success. So I started doing my best to make a career out of it.
yeah. How did your parents feel about you fighting? Were they kind of like, oh, whatever makes you happy, or they were a little like, oh, we don't know about this, like nervous per se?
Yeah, it's kind of gone up and down. When I first started, they just probably didn't think it was something I was really gonna stick with or make much out of. But then they can see how serious I take it right from the very beginning and how important it was for me to do well and to succeed. So just like most parents, if they can tell that it's something that you really care about and you have a lot of passion for, they'll support it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I do boxing, so my mom's the same way. She's always. I don't really compete, but I want to. But she's definitely like, she's always there.
Yeah, if you show a bunch of commitment before, then it's usually a lot easier when it does come
Hmm.
time to compete because they know it's something you're not just just deciding all easy. You put a lot of effort in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't been doing that long, so I'm kind of still learning the basics per se.
Yeah.
But I mean, like how we are talking about Canada and you doing the MMA. What does it mean to you to be able to like help represent Canadian MMA alongside UFC fighters like Mike Malott, Eamon Zahabi, Charles Jourdain, those Kyle Nelson, those type of people?
Yeah, man, it means a lot to me. I've been fighting in the scene for a long time. I've been a pro for almost 17 years fighting MMA, which
Wow.
is a really long time. And I really want something to show for it. I want
Hmm.
to create something that people remember me from. So when people are thinking and talking about Canadian MMA, I definitely want my name to be in the mix that I helped grow the sport and bring more attention, bring more people to it as a coach, as a fighter. And now, I've got my own gym as well. So I just want to keep growing martial arts in Canada. And yeah, I think I'm on my way to achieving that goal, get my name up there.
Do you have a date for your return? Like a certain date, a certain opponent that you're kind of like, ooh, that sounds nice.
No, I actually hurt my knee in the fight,
Oh,
so I'm working on getting it recovered right now. That's kind of my priority, my focus. So once that's good, like, once my body's ready to rock, then I'll start kind of looking into the calendar and seeing what makes sense for me. I mean, I'd love to get back in there before summer, like something like the
hmm.
springtime, give my knee a chance to heal and get another big fight booked. I think they're doing a Mexico card late March.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think March 25th.
yeah, I was matched up with a Mexican before and it fell through. So hopefully there's something like that could be put together. But yeah, we'll see. The knee is kind of the driving factor right now. I got to get it fixed up first.
Is it like a ACL injury? What is it?
It's not my ligaments. They're still kind of working through what is really going on with it. It's just like some damage, some cartilage damage, but it's not.
Uh,
It doesn't look like we're going for surgery. Just gonna rehab and strengthen. So I'm optimistic I can get through it and get back on track. So.
this happened during the fight or like right before?
It was a combination of both. I had the
Oh,
injury during training camp, and then in the first round, I definitely heard it a lot worse. It was kind of locking
hmm.
up on me and caused me a lot of problems in the fight for sure. It's no
Yeah,
excuse for sure because I still think that Cody, he had some strengths and he exploited some of my weaknesses, and it probably would have went down similarly no matter what. But for sure, the knee did not help me out. It really gave me problems in the first round, so I had to switch up strategies.
yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
All
But
good.
yeah, is that maybe a fight you would want to get back in the future, the Cody fight, or you kind of just like whatever's next?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it definitely is because I really feel like I can beat Cody. Even though, one thing is I actually really like the guy. He was a solid dude and he just did his thing and went out there and won. But I feel like I had so many ways I could have won that fight.
Hmm.
I didn't have a great night. I had to deal with some adversity and it just the whole thing didn't really come together.
Yeah,
But I still think it was more situational than it was my skill set versus his. So yeah, I'd love to do it again and this time hopefully we can give the fans what they want and get a little bit more action in there.
yeah, totally. Um, there was a I don't know. Do you stay up to date with like fight announcements or like?
More or less, more or less. I definitely don't know everything, but I've been watching a bit.
Yeah, there was a fight between Saeed Nurmagomedov and Vinicius Oliveira for the Saudi Arabia card in February. It was announced like 2 days ago, I think. So what's your early prediction for that fight?
I mean, I think Saeed's going to be a lot too much of a step up,
Hmm.
for sure, for Vinicius. Now he's done some big things in the UFC so far, uh,
Yeah.
but I still think that level of step up is going to be too much for him. But you never know. I mean, guys like that are exciting and have confidence in themselves, they could pull it off. Because I bet you a lot of guys didn't want that fight with never going to get it off. So
Yeah.
he said yes, and that means something too. So maybe he knows something I don't.
I think Saeed was matched up for with Yanez for Tampa, and then they just apparently Saeed pulled out or something. But how do you feel about people like Vinicius Oliveira who come in, he's 2-0 in the UFC and they're already talking about, oh, he gets a ranked fight, oh, he's gonna be a champion, but it's like for veterans that have to do 5 fight win streaks, 6 fight win streaks to get ranked. Does it kind of annoy you where it's like he's had 2 fights, like we gotta see what he can really do, or is it just kind of like it's not my business?
Yeah, it's the name of the game. Like the UFC, each fight you have is just an opportunity to make the most of it, and you can do that by just getting a win, or you can do that by, really exciting the fans. You can do that by
Hmm.
impressing the matchmakers. It comes down to the person making it happen. So I don't have a problem when guys are able to do that because we already, in the UFC especially, that we've already proven our way. It's like nobody gets in there easy. So the
Yeah.
fact somebody gets in there and they win a couple fights, they get a big fight. like, yeah, I mean, the guys are probably been fighting for, over 10 years, pro. Like these guys have still put in their time. And then once you make the UFC, how quickly you can rise up. I mean, that comes down to you. So yeah, good on the guys. I mean, I still think he's going a little bit too early for his own good, probably, but you never know. It's a risk reward sport, so maybe he can pull it off.
Yeah, and how you were saying with like you want to fight in Mexico, maybe there's a Mexican prospect, Raul Rosas. Is that someone you would definitely think could be your next fight?
Yeah, I would love that matchup. I was really, in my mind when I was breaking down kind of my future, that was the timeline I had in my mind. So I like to kind of stick to those type of goals. But I wanted to beat Cody. Obviously, that didn't work. But if I was going to beat Cody, it would have been a couple wins in a row, and I wanted to try and get Royale after that. But I'm sure he's looking for somebody coming on wins and a way to move himself up the rankings. Now, if that fight it was in front of me, 100%, I'm signing it. So I'd love to get in there with somebody that's just going to be exciting, get the fans engaged, give me a good card, good spot on the card. Yeah, that's the goal.
How do you feel about Raul's overall game? I mean, he's 20. He's kind of new to the sport. Do you feel like he's a little overhyped? Not overhyped, but do you think he's like earned the respect he gets, or is it kind of like we gotta see what this kid can do against
Yeah, I
real?
mean, he's got the skills, like he's not yeah, like he's definitely putting in the work and got the skills, no doubt. The whole experience and the things that guys have to go through to build up their mental toughness, it's only going to fall on him. If he rises too fast, he doesn't have that type of experience and mental toughness that a guy needs. It's just going to end up hurting him anyway. So, you
Hmm.
know, I think the UFC is trying to slow roll him a little bit because these we have these career spans you want to try and plan out properly, and if he tries too much too early and fails, it might be a bad situation for him. So there's tons of guys, man, like in every gym you go to, there's guys that are that good that could be in
Hmm.
the UFC beating guys, but they just haven't put in the time and they don't have the record yet, they don't have the experience yet, and it really matters. So I think he's just another one of those guys who's a real superstar as far as his skill set, and so far, he's looked pretty good under pressure, but there's more pressure coming, and we'll see what it happens to him with it.
Hmm. So you feel like he's earned the hype. It's just a matter of time to see what he can do with it when he
Yeah,
gets to
exactly. He's definitely
22.
earned his opportunity to be showcased.
Yeah,
It's down to him, how he's gonna use that. He's gonna use it to make a big name for himself or fall flat. But he's definitely earned it. He's fighting tough fights and he's putting
yeah,
on some decent shows. So.
yeah. So with you say training camp, do you what is the normal training camp consist for you? Is it like how many months? Is it 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks?
For me, it's got to be 12 weeks. I'm getting older in the sport, and I need enough time to really get my body performing how I need it to. So I've done it for a really long time, and I've done camps a lot of different ways, and I have it pretty dialed in right now. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm older, I fight great. I have good energy, good speed, good power. I'm fast. My timing is great, so I feel really good. But it takes me time. Like I really want to use those 12 weeks effectively so that I'm not getting too injured in training camp, like kind of happened last time. And yeah, just so I'm peaking properly. So I love having long camps. It just lets me gradually crank that dial up, and it gives me less room for injuries or issues along the way.
Yeah, yeah. So does when you say 12 weeks, does it how does the diet go? Is it 2 meals a day, 1 meal a day, 1 meal a day, and like a little snack? Or is it like kind of like a normal day, three diets just cut
Yeah,
down?
it's normal. It's normal. I don't diet at all. I just eat on the smarter side, but
Mm-hmm.
diet is not my life. Training is. So I do whatever I eat, whatever I need to sleep good, recover good, and train hard. And that's as
Yeah,
simple as for me. So yeah, I don't have to cut near as much weight as all these other guys. So I just
yeah.
focus on getting the best possible training I can every day.
Do you feel like do you feel like people that weigh 160 but then they cut to 135? Do you think that plays an effect in their in the fights and the camp, or is it
Oh
like do you
yeah,
think?
it's really the guys are really zapping themselves But that's the difference, I think, in the exciting fighters and the guys that can just get the wins. The exciting
Mhm.
guys typically don't cut as much weight because they want the energy, the explosiveness. They don't want anything to derail the fight, too. You know, something like a
Yeah,
bad weight cut can totally change the fight for these guys. But it's only 15 minutes for us guys not fighting for championships. And even if your cardio zapped at that extra weight, they can really use it to squeak by those 15 minutes. So I really hate that style. But as us smaller guys, it's up to us to put on the energy and wear those guys out and take them out. So yeah, I don't think cutting there's a point of diminishing returns for cutting big amounts of weight, and I think a lot of
yeah.
guys cut too much to stay exciting, and that's the name of the game. It got to be exciting.
Yeah, because I feel like there's some fighters that weigh too much and cut like they weigh 170 and they fight at 135 and it's killing them. And then there's some people that go up in weight when they can make though, like for example, like they could fight at bantamweight, but they move to featherweight because of whatever reason they're not dedicated enough or whatever it may be. Do you feel if someone fights at a weight class above that they should be, it also affects their game because they're just undersized, or is it?
It's never so much the weight or the strength. It's just the body types you have to fight, the frames. So if you're, I'm 5'6", and my the last two guys I fought were 6 foot and 5'10", and it makes it difficult just because of body type versus body type. Not everything works the exact same way, whether it's grappling or striking.
Yeah.
Just about running into guys with different body types, not really the size. Like of all things, when it comes to a fight, there's skill, experience, power, speed, timing, and the very last little thing that matters is how much somebody weighs. It just doesn't really matter that much.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's more just like this. It's just more how they are as a fighter. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter like
exactly.
what they cut. Okay, okay, I get what you mean. Um, what is one piece of advice that you have that you could give to someone that is an amateur boxer, amateur MMA fighter that you feel could help them step their game up to the next level when it comes to training, competing, nerves?
100% the best thing anybody can possibly do is get the best coach you can, because that is going to
Mhm.
shape your entire skill set and your entire career. Get a coach with some credentials, some respect, and really high level of coaching and skill. That will be the best thing anybody can do. Don't just take the nearest guy or the guy that says he's just going to help you out or do something for you. I mean, this is your skill set, your career, potentially everything that has to do with fighting is going to come back to your coach. So do your diligence and pick the best coach. That's for sure.
When you mean a coach with credentials, do you mean someone that's, if it, for example, for me, it's, boxing, is it a coach that has boxed, competed, or just coach that has the respect within the game?
Yeah, so it's as long as they have some experience at high level, and it doesn't have to be competing. Now that's a great one if people have competed at high level, but as long as they've coached at high levels and other high level boxers use them as a coach, like there's all the telltale signs when somebody is a good coach, and it's usually the type of level that they've been coaching at. So I'm not saying there's not good coaches that are just getting started, but very typically you're going to get a better coach, more experience, better advice from somebody who's been at the top of the game for sure, whether they're fighting in it or coaching in it, but they at least know what it looks like. Somebody's going to tell
Yeah,
you that they're going to get you to the UFC as a coach and they've never been there. How do they know how to get there? You know what I mean? They never had a
yeah,
fight,
yeah. I feel
never
you.
got there themselves. So it's like, they there's no they're just not backing it up.
You just need someone that understands the high level of it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Um, I got two more questions for you. My first one is the UFC made new gloves. Originally for all the events, now just for the fight nights. Have you noticed a difference in the gloves? Do you like it? Do you prefer the old ones?
So I actually like the new ones. That's what I fought in last.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me a pair to train in before we fought with them so that they weren't, brand new the fight night. And I really liked them. I think they fit better. But I think some of the guys had complaints that the finger like holes are too small. And in the back room, the UFC actually has this like tool. It's like a finger hole spreader that they try to like warm your gloves up with. And they never needed that before. So it's an obvious sign. So I think the bigger guys don't like them, but us smaller guys, they were totally fine for us. I actually liked them better.
Do you think they help with the eye pokes?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, okay. Yeah, because I heard Dana White say at the press conference for UFC 309 that they changed it because too many fighters were saying that. Like John Jones came out saying it was uncomfortable, like his hand didn't really fit.
Yeah.
So you feel that's just for like the heavyweights and the middleweights?
I would think so. I don't know for sure because I haven't talked to any of those other guys, but I think that's what people are saying is that they're fitting really tight around like the knuckles and the fingers,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
just like an ergonomics thing. It's just not working for those guys. So
Oh, okay, okay. And then my final question for you is, do you have anything you would like to say to your fans, family who have supported you so far in your journey in the MMA and UFC scene?
yeah, man, I was really glad to get to fight in Edmonton last. It's only a couple hours up the road from where I live, and I've spent my whole life training and competing all over the place, all over the world, and I've had support from my friends and family and fans from fighting in tiny little crappy casinos and bars to all the
Yeah.
way to the big stage in the UFC. So I'm just really thankful that have all these people that have been with me for so long. So I'm really grateful to get to give them these big shows to keep cheering me on.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time.
Right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.